gentle viewers. I am Katie Lynn. I messed that all up. Hold on, just give me like 2 seconds. No. I got this. This is Young and Hangry, and I'm Katie Lynn. And I should have eaten before this. Here on Young and Hangry, we never scoff at home cooks. We always encourage dancing and music and wine in the kitchen because we think that cooking should be a pastime and not a chore. But that's not always easy because people get busy, and that's why we're going to start with our go-to dinner for busy weeknights. It's quick, it's fast, you can do it with whatever you have in your fridge. I'm going to start with my mystical Monday night pizza, which is a perfect recipe for those nights when you get home and you're very tired and you're very hungry and you're very frustrated. Okay, let's decompress. Let's get started. Step 1. You'll want to arrive home exhausted and hangry from working a job where your employer barely pays you enough to buy pizza toppings. Step 2. Decide you'll use just about anything for your pizza toppings out of both necessity and laziness. The beauty of this recipe is that you can pull almost anything out of your fridge and make it into a pizza. The 2 non-negotiables are naan, which you can keep in your freezer until the apocalypse, and mozzarella cheese. Step 3. Decide what in your fridge is acceptable and edible. Today I'm going to show you one of my personal favorites. Although it may seem a little bit odd, it's very delicious potato and leek pizza. And then I'm going to show you some go-to variations which might spark some inspiration. I got this recipe from Leanne Brown's Good and Cheap, which is a lovely cookbook, and it's actually free online in PDF form, which I'm going to put the link in the description. But I have changed a little bit to make it a little bit speedier and easier for weeknight cooking. Let's make the thing. I'm just going to preheat my oven to 415. 400 works too. I like my pizzas a little bit crustier, especially if you're cooking from frozen. And I'm going to wash my hands. I'm just going to take my leek and just lob the head right off. Because these green things, that's not what we're messing with today. Goodbye, my friend. One thing you'll notice when you cut the leek is that it's got a lot of like sand and particles in there. That's because it grows underground. It's a friend of the onion. So you're going to want to soak your leek in water to get all that grit out. So I like to cut mine in rings, and you can even cut the rings in half because that kind of makes it easier because you're gonna have to push it out. Like, you see that? That's gorgeous, right? Like, that's magical. But you have to spread the rings out and soak them in water so that you can get all the grit and the sand out. I'm just gonna let that rest, and hopefully some of that sand should fall off while it's resting. And I'm going to cut my potatoes, which I have already washed. If you cut your potatoes thin enough, then you really don't have to cook them beforehand. If you're not very good at a thin slice, you're probably going to want to microwave them for a minute and give them a head start in the cooking process. If I was going to nuke my potatoes, I'd do it 1 minute, maybe 1:30. They don't need a lot of a head start, they just need a teensy bit. So like this one's kind of a thick boy. So I probably, if I had potatoes about that thick, I would nuke them. Give them a quick nuke-a-rooney. So I like to use a Ukon gold potato, anything that's not extremely starchy, like a big table potato, not really what you're going for. So I have my leeks and they've been sitting in the bowl for about 5 minutes while I was cutting my potatoes, and all the sand and grit has fallen to the bottom. And I'm not going to strain it out in a colander because then the dirt would all go right back on top of what I just washed. So I'm going to take a slotted spoon and scoop them out onto something else. Leeks kind of seem like they're high maintenance, but they're really not. This took me like 5 minutes, but that was only because I was dilly-dallying. You can clean a leek in like 2 minutes, and they're delicious, and they're a lot milder than an onion. So if you're not a fan of an onion, maybe try a leek. So I put about 2 tablespoons worth of olive oil in my potatoes and leeks, and I mixed them around. And I'm gonna salt and pepper them. At this point, I like to add in some Parmesan and give it a little extra boost so that everything gets coated with Parm. Because Parm is life. Beautiful. Okay, now just spread your leeks and your potatoes on the top of your pizza. So, remember that mozzarella? I'm just gonna kind of break off some of it. It should kind of come apart beautifully. It's so pretty. Take big chunks. Doesn't really matter how it looks. I like a rustic looking pizza any day of the week. So I like to use the fresh mozzarella. You can use the mozzarella in the block. I prefer to grate my own cheese because sometimes when you buy grated cheese from the store, they put kind of like a cornstarch chemical on top to keep it from sticking together. It also keeps it from melting into like all that good gooiness sometimes. So I like to grate my own cheese. I'm also not gonna come into your home and chastise you for using the already grated stuff because I don't know who you are. Live your life. A little bit of Parm on top. And my oven's preheated to 415. I'm gonna put this baby in for 15 minutes and that's it. But wait, what if you don't have leeks and potatoes? Maybe you think that sounds gross. I promise it's not, but you can use whatever you've got. When you're making a pizza, I like to start with a liquid base. Marinara sauce, pesto, olive oil, anything like that. And then you can throw veggies, meat, cheese, all of those things combined onto a pizza. Whatever you want. You can go fancy with it. You can do some goat cheese and asparagus, or you can roll it back to American and do some Cheetos and some cheddar cheese. I do not care. I want you to be happy. There is one thing that I will warn you against, and that is overloading your pizza because, as Mary Berry may tell you, that will lead to a soggy bottom, and we don't want that. This is what my finished pizza looks like, but you could also do snap magic. Mozzarella, tomatoes, basil, salt and pepper, olive oil, margarita pizza, dunzo, and snap magic. Italian sausage, ricotta cheese, mozzarella, spinach, and garlic. Beautiful. Whatever you've got, it'll work. And it'll feed a hungry film crew. Are you guys hungry?
Yeah!